Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Nina Ribena's Art Journal Prompts and More. It's May week 4 and time for me to set you another prompt. The prompt this week is repetition, and you can interpret that however you choose to do so. I just think that repeating elements in a page is just a really fun thing to do, and you can build up some amazing layers, and it's just really good practice. Now I'm going to be working with my jelly plate today. You don't have to do this, of course, because I know that some of you don't possess one, but I know you like it when I work on my jelly plate. And these are the colours that I'm going to be using today. I'm not going to list what colours these are because, just use any colours you choose. You can see that these are all within the same colour family. So these are all going to play nicely together, which is why I've chosen them. And again, I'm just going to repeat lots and lots of layers. Now, I'm going to be working on a piece of mixed media paper today. I'm doing an art journal page. This is the mixed media paper I'm going to be using, which is Daler Rowney. Mixed media paper, the Optima paper, and it is 250 GSM, £169. I've cut it down to 7 by 7.5 inches to fit my art journal. So let's crack on. I'm using a piece of Hessian to build up texture in my background today. I've cut it slightly larger than my art journal page, which is 7 by 7.5 inches. And so I start by adding some turquoise to my jelly plate, and then I press the piece of Hessian in, cover it with a piece of deli paper just so that I don't mess up my fingers, and I just press firmly to reveal that texture, and then I just press my art journal page into that colour. And you can see when I lift my page, I've just got this wonderful grid pattern in the background created by using that Hessian. So I repeat the process again, this time using this lovely lime green. I haven't bothered to clean my jelly plate, I'm just going straight over the top of that turquoise. These colours play really nicely together because they're in the same colour family, so no need to worry about cleaning my plate. And again, I just press the Hessian into the lime green, cover it with the deli paper to supposedly protect my hands, although I still managed to end up in a painty mess. And this time I decide to rotate my piece of mixed media paper. I don't know whether it makes any difference, but that's what I decide to do. And again, I'm just building up these lovely layers so you can still see the turquoise underneath, but you've got that lovely lime green on top. And of course you can see as well that I'm picking up some of the texture that was already on the jelly plate before I started. And so I repeat this process with 2 further colours, which really builds up that depth of pattern in my background. I decide to pick up a piece of plain copier paper this time to protect my hands because I've got my deli paper in such a mess. And each time I'm rotating the piece of mixed media paper. And each time I take a pull, it's revealing more of that crusty old paint that was left on the jelly plate from my previous session. And this just adds more to the texture, makes it just look more interesting. And then finally, this is my last layer, so I'm using this lovely cornflower blue just to finish off that gorgeous textured background. I absolutely love how this looks, and I just love the fact that you can see all of those 4 colours that I used, and it just looks so interesting. Who'd have thought, just from a simple piece of Hessian? Now I don't want to waste all those layers of paint that are still left on the jelly plate, so here you can see that I've grabbed a stamp block and I'm just spraying on a very thin layer of paint. You don't want this too thick here, otherwise it just won't work, but this will just help pull all of those gorgeous layers that are underneath. So I grab a piece of plain copier paper and I'm pressing quite hard. You need to make sure that your page is quite firmly attached to the jelly plate, and when you peel it back, it just reveals all of those gorgeous layers that are left underneath. Just beautiful. I want to build up some more pattern on my background, so I'm using my small square gel plate, which I'm using as a stamp block, and you can see that I've pulled out a leaf stamp from a giraffe set that I've got, and I just apply random leaves all over the background, and you can see that I'm rotating the stamp as well so that it looks more interesting and the leaves are all going in different directions. I'm also making sure that some of those leaves are hanging off the page as well, just to give it a more random feel. And so I want to repeat the process using some white paint. So I've cleaned off my gel plate and I've also cleaned the stamp. I know it still looks green, but I have cleaned it, I promise you. And I just add more layers of that leaf stamp all over the background, overlapping some of the leaves, and again just making sure that some of them are hanging off the page. And I do keep rotating the stamp as well. Now, I absolutely love this background as it is, but I do want to frame my page. So I've cut myself some strips of Hessian to use as a stamp, and I do end up using a separate piece of Hessian for each of the colours, just because it gets a bit misshapen. So this colour that I start off with is phthalo turquoise, and I'm just stamping some thin lines. Then you can see that I cut myself a fresh piece and I add a slightly lighter turquoise straight over the top of the existing pattern, and this will just help to frame my page and draw the eye to the eventual focal image. And I just love the effect that this gives. It looks as if I've got hanging wisteria all around the edge of the page. It's just lovely. So you can see here that I'm coming in with the lightest colour now, the white, and then I go over the top with the same green that I used to stamp the leaves, just to tie all the colours together. I absolutely love how that background looks. Just look at all the details, and you know, just adding layers and repeating all those gorgeous patterns just brings everything together. So I am going to use this napkin here. It's one of these fabric type napkins, so it doesn't have lots of layers, and I'm just going to fussy cut these flamingos out. So here we go, I've fussy cut the flamingos, and these are going to go on my background, something like that. I'm just going to glue these down with some watered down PVA, which I've got in this jar here. So I'm just going to use a piece of parchment paper, and the way I'm going to do that is just to apply the glue all over the back. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm just applying quite a heavy layer of glue all over the back. So here we go, I've got this glued down, and I'm just using a credit card now just to smooth out any air bubbles and just to make sure that it's properly glued down. And then I'm just going to have to leave that to dry. And you can see that my page has warped, so I'm just going to put some deli paper down and just weight it down for half an hour or so with a heavy book. So you can see my page is completely flattened out now, and I've pulled out a few neo colours just in the same shades that are in the napkin, and I'm just going to lay just a little bit of colour down just to brighten things up a little bit and just make it more intense. I'm being really loose and scribbly about this. You don't have to do this at all. This is just, you know, something I like to do just to, you know, add depth to whatever I'm doing. And you know, I've got my neo colours here, so I just like to do it being really loose and scribbly about it. I've got some red in here as well, so I'm adding a little bit of that. Here we are. Got some of this flesh colour here, and of course the lighter pink. So So I'm just adding some of this. I'm pressing quite heavy as well. Here we go. And then I'm just going to, I've already started working on this, and I'm just using a baby wipe just to blend out those colours. And I'm just going to keep working on this until I end up with the depth that I'm happy with. And this is just blending all those lovely colours together. And then I'm just going to go around the outside now with a Stabilo All pencil just to define the flamingo. I'm not going too heavy to start off with, just providing myself with a bit of an outline, just to define it against the background, and then I can add in some shading. So I've just gone round my flamingos now with my Stabilo All, and you can see the areas where I've gone slightly heavier just to add some shading, and I'm just going to blend this out now using my blending stump all the way around. Just really smudging out those areas where I've just gone a bit heavier, sort of, you know, on the crook of the neck like this, on the breast, turning my page because, you know, it's easier. Yeah, can you see? So here's my finished page glued down in my journal. I love this. It just looks so gorgeous, and it just looks so much more complicated than it really was as well. I've just got some gorgeous texture going on in the background, and can you hear it? It's you know, the texture just feels absolutely wonderful. I've just finished the page off with one of the Tim Holtz Ideology chipboard quotes. So here they are. Ideology, I put mine in a tub, and this is what they look like. And so I've just used that same teal coloured ink just to go around the edges. And you can see what a difference the Neo colours made as well to the flamingos. Just looks really, really vibrant. And these are all the mop-up pages as well that I've got left over. These were the clean-up pages from the Gelli plate. Just look at these. Look at all that texture, and you can feel it as well. Absolutely wonderful. I love these. That was from when I was doing all the stamping. That one's where I cleaned off the small Gelli plate, and of course that was the piece of deli paper as well, so I've got all of those left over. So just to remind you, the prompt this week is repetition, which you can interpret in any way you like. I hope you like how I've interpreted the prompt this week, and if you did, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and do let me know what you think in the comments below. So take care everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.